Hello, everybody. How are you? I assume that there is somebody that is only English speaker, so let's do it in English. I hope that everybody is comfortable for this. And first of all, thank you to stay with us. And today we have I will say, a good topic to talk with one of the best companies in Spain, and it's the Hypergrowth. Here we have with us Jordi from Weecover, Arnau from Haddock, and Avi from Payflow. First of all, I will say, before starting the topic that we're going to talk today, that it's Hypergrowth companies, I would like that you, in a couple of minutes, explain your company, because I'm more than sure that some of the people who's staying here don't know about you. So, Jordi, what's Weecover? What are you doing?
Well, thanks, Luis. It's very difficult to explain it in 2 minutes, but I will try it. We do embedded insurance. So in a way, we are enabling any kind of company, digital companies, e-commerce platforms, any company who is not an actor of the insurance industry, to allow them to sell insurance covers in any digital process, a link to a purchasing process or a service process. That means that what we have developed is a kind of platform or proposition which enables to do with a plugin or an API a process to bundle an insurance cover in any digital process. We are working currently with e-commerce platforms to allow them to include the insurance cover in their processes, in their core processes.
Thank you, Jordi. And now, what about Haddock?
Okay, hello, good morning, everyone. We are Haddock. We are a SaaS that help restaurants to have a better cost control. So our main goal is to help them to realize if they are earning money or they are losing money. No? We start 1 year ago today, and we launch in Spain, but we're already in Portugal, Mexico, and Colombia, and growing fast. And if you have a restaurant and you need help, just talk with me.
And Avi?
Good morning, everyone. So Payflow is a mobile app that allows employees to get paid whenever they want instead of just once a month. So we sell it to companies as an employee benefit. Companies pay for it and employees benefit from it. And we're live in Spain and Latin America.
Thank you. So when I decided to do this panel, I was thinking about what an hypergrowth company is. No? And at the end, at least what Harvard is saying is that a hypergrowth company is a company that it's growing more than 40% per year. So it's easy to see this in startups that more or less are in the beginning of the process. But after this growth, they become steadily. So here we have 3 different companies in different stages. But all of them are growing to a highest growth than 40%. So I would like to do some questions, because this growth, it's quite difficult to keep it properly. So I would like them to show us how are they becoming profitable companies year by year by controlling everything that's around the growth. So I would like to start with the first question. That's, when you are growing so fast and you have focus on one thing, revenue, but what are you doing with other factors? For example, when we are talking about the IT, all the systems that you are using, sometimes when you used to be 10, are using the same systems than when you are 100 or 1,000. And that's one of the main problems. For example, Amazon suffered this. They were centering to sell, but they don't pay attention to the IT systems. And after this, it becomes a legacy, because they had to spend a lot of money to remodeling everything. So, for example, Avinash, what are you planning? I mean, you are using the same systems, you have a team focused on internal IT systems. What's your plan about it?
So in our case, we always try to get traction first and then increase spending. And this is true for IT systems, but any other kind of expense, such as personnel also, right? So what we'll do is we'll increase the team size, add a few IT systems, check that it's resulting in higher revenue, and only then, if it's working, will we magnify it, right? So if we ever add a software, we'll always start with one account, and then we'll consider whether we need to have one account for everyone in the sales team or so on. Another thing we do is reviewing our budget monthly. So we have an external agency called the Startup CFO that we rely on, and we also have an internal finance team. And what we'll do is once per month, we'll go through every single line in the budget, starting from highest cost to lowest cost. So we focus on what's important first, and we'll review, like, is this really necessary? Is this really bringing us more traction? And if not, we don't really think about it much. We tend to get rid of these kind of useless softwares.
Thank you. And Jordi, what about you?
Well, in our case, the approach was clearly the same. So at the very beginning, you need to validate that the business model is working. So in the end, what it really matters is that the solution is adopted by the market. So the focus was 100% sales, and to get traction, our model is a B2B2C, which means that we need to capture partners, like large, medium companies, to allow us to include the insurance offer in their processes. And this takes time, so it's quite a long decision process. So the focus was 100% sales. Now we are in the process of re-platforming, redoing some kinds of architecture in the platform to enable additional capabilities in the platform. But I think that at the very beginning, the focus must be sales. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
exactly.
the last one, but
yeah, I would add the same, no? But I think that the three of us, we are always thinking about create something big, no? So that's true that first we have to understand if the client wants that feature or whatever, but also thinking about creating a scalable product, right? So in Y Combinator, no, that they talk a lot about create something people want. So we are focusing on that, thinking about scaling the product, but doing at first an MVP and then start growing the product architecture as well.
Thank you. Three of them have something in common, that they are B2B sellers. And as we can imagine, they have a long-term period to, let's say, to finally sell some product from your companies. So here we're touching a topic that it's a CAC. When this cost is to hire, it values and the new client, it's something that if you are growing, but the acquisition cost is growing faster, what do you do? Because it's not a sustainable company. How you are boarding this? I assume that in the beginning, obviously, you have to invest much in this cost, let's say this, but once you are assuming this growth, how do you manage it? If you want, for example, Arnau, in this case?
Yes, this is a good question. It's one question that now it's on the table. But it depends in the stage and also in the product that you are building. No, for example, we have a product that we are unique in Europe, so we have the advantage of being leaders, like super fast. So we are not focused on this cost of acquisition. That's true that we are doing a lot of, for example, spending money in doing ads. We are doing a lot of different experiments, and of course, every day. We are changing things, no, in order to be cost efficient in that part. But it's true as well that in our states, at least, we won't grow faster than not thinking a lot about CAC.
And Avi, in your case, that you are, in, let's say, in a stage after Arnau, what do you think about it?
So for us at Payflow, we have a few KPIs that we track across the company. So we have one primary KPI, that's our North Star metric, and it's the revenue. But we also have another 4 or 5 that we keep an eye on, and we set targets for each of those, right? So one of those 5 would be the LTV CAC ratio. And for us now, we're around 50 employees, so it's not enough for me or my co-founder to know that we want the LTV CAC ratio to be at around 10, which is more or less where we have it. The whole company needs to know that that's our target, right? Because this way you enable people across the organization to take decisions such as, should I pay a little bit more to get this client? Is it okay for me to overspend on marketing for this segment of clients? And the answer is, if the pricing is high enough and the revenue is high enough, so, and the LTV will be high enough, then it's worth it, right? So that's how we make sure, and we have weekly reporting across all departments where they have to report against these 4 or 5 key metrics. So every week we see, the whole organization sees for the marketing team and the sales team, what is their LTV CAC ratio, and everyone in the organization knows if it's above 10 or not.
And Jordi,
Yeah, in our case, clearly the focus of the acquisition cost, which is B2B, matters with the level of scalability. So in fact, what we are focusing at the very beginning is to capture the partner. Once we have a partner, we know that we can expand the portfolio of products that we can sell with them, which that means that no, the LTV with this partner in the end is much higher. So it's worth making an investment at the very beginning with one significant partner, as we understand that this is also a referral for other partners, no, to embed the same kind of solution. As we are developing a kind of innovative solution, they need to know and they need to understand that there are other companies in the same space that are doing the same and that they are getting revenue out of it, which is, I would say, we are not obsessed about the acquisition cost. In our experience, we started with a B2C approach as well, because we wanted to test that the platform worked also for B2C. And this was one of the fastest decisions that we took, no, to get rid of the B2C, because in the end, the acquisition cost was killing us. And we understood that regardless, the decision process for B2B was much longer, it was much scalable, and the LTV was worth doing it.
Okay. Avinash has touched a couple of points that I would like to onboard. The first one, you have talked about KPIs. Once you realize that you are growing too fast, what kind of KPIs do you decide to keep the control? I know that you, Avinash, you have talked about LTV, but I'm more than sure that you have other ones. So please choose a couple of them and explain to people why you are controlling your company with these KPIs.
Well, in our case, revenue is the main KPI, and which means revenue is number of, in our case, policies, premium customers, okay, which means in the end, gross commissions, and out of this is the acquisition cost that we are paying to the partner. So this is a revenue share model, and which really improves over the time. As you may know, the insurance business is a regular business, so we have the possibility to renew on a yearly basis the portfolio of policies that we have. So this is a good business. So in terms of customers, we are not just targeting new business acquisition, we are always targeting how many of them are renewing. So these are the main KPIs we are managing. At the same time, of course, any cost drivers that are part of the P&L.
So for us, as we said, also we are also a B2B2C business. So our primary goal and our North Star metric is the revenue, but the other 4 KPIs that we track all can lead to revenue, right? So they're secondary metrics that can lead to revenue. And in our case, 2 of them are B2B metrics and 2 of them are B2C metrics. So the B2B ones would be LTV CAC that we just talked about, the employee pool. So in our case, having more employees on our platform can lead to more revenue later, even if it doesn't now, because we can later sell other kinds of features to those people. So that's why we track that one. And then on the B2C end, we track the download rate. So within a company, if we have a client, for example, Five Guys, what percentage of employees in Five Guys use our app? That's important because if more employees use it, we reduce churn likelihood, so that again contributes to revenue. And the second metric we track is the transactions per download. So how active, how many times do people get paid per month, people that are on the Payflow platform? And the higher that is, that means the higher our user retention is, and the more other services we could give to those users that would in turn lead to revenue. So to summarize, like the other 4 metrics all can someday lead to revenue, and that's why we want to track them.
Yeah, like we have like 3 kind of metrics, no? Like acquisition, retention, and business, no? And for example, acquisition for us is super important, the ratio between demo and deal, no? That we have a very good ratio there, and if we don't perform well during a week or during a month, we keep trying how can we change that. Then the retention, of course, we are just checking if restaurants upload expenses, no? If they take pictures of the recipe notes or the invoices, if they are doing this a lot, no, it means that they are using Haddock as the first BI or P&L vision of their business, and then of course MRR, no, the growing. For example, if there is upselling in every partner, in every client, and also we are checking if in every country we can have the same prices, and so of course MRR would be the first North Star metric, but we have to divide between acquisition and retention as well.
Perfect. The second point that Avinash highlighted, it's people. And I assume that in your your startups, people is working hard, that it's something that it's good. But what's happening that when this hard, it becomes 200 hours per week? Something that, in your case, you take care of the people, because if you are growing, it's thanks to them. So how do you manage that they have to work hard, but at the same time that they have to enjoy? How do you generate, let's say, the perfect culture inside of your businesses?
Well, it's a bit difficult. It depends very much on how you started. And in our case, we started the two of us, so the two co-founders. So then you are used to work long hours, and it doesn't care to you because it's your own business. So this is very different when you are building up a new team with people who really wants to work in this industry, in the segment, in the challenge. But you need to take care of them, and you need to, first of all, to invest time to do the knowledge transfer to them, because otherwise they will not be helpful in what you are requesting them to do. And secondly, you need to pay attention that this is a kind of managing this work-life balance, and to understand how to make it possible. In the end, this is all about saying no. Because when you're in a startup, you have plenty of opportunities to do, plenty of cases that you can target, plenty of prospects that you can pursue. But if you don't say no to anything, then you will do an overwork to your team, and you will stress them at the end. So it's about setting the priorities and to say, we are going to focus on that. This is really important. This is what we will do. And we have to say no to that other, no?
Yeah, I could talk hours about culture, about people. It's something that I think that we invest a lot of time creating this culture in Haddock, no? Because I think people is the most important part of a company, of course. And it's tricky, because we try to work super hard. We are now in Y Combinator, in 28 days there is the demo day, so everybody's not stressed, but with the pressure to do really well their work. But I think what we are doing well, I don't know, maybe Uriol can say if it's true or not, it's that we try to be super transparent on everything that we are doing, about growing MRR, our conversations with investors. So it's something like everybody is part of the project. They know the same, the co-founders as well. So this is something that the people, the team, wants to create something great as well, no? And they can help us to be their own boss, no? In that part. And we don't have scheduled time, no? It's true that we are doing daily meetings and everything, but for example in sales it's more like you have a KPIs and objectives and you have to achieve it, but then if you want to work more and you want to have a better performance, then you have commissions, and everybody in that part is a little bit, so they can self-manage.
Again, I could talk about hours for this topic. So I think actually all founders, instead of having the titles that are on this board, we should all be chief people officer, because at the end of the day, that's what you do most, right? And the bigger and bigger you get, the more and more you need to recruit better people, retain them for longer, the more important everyone else in the team becomes, right? So for us, I mean, we work hard. I think we work harder and longer hours than most startups on average. But if you do that, people need to be rewarded accordingly, right? So you need to pay higher compensations. You need to promote people when they deserve it. I think for us, like one moment that made us change our mentality a lot was we once had an employee that was really good, and he decided to leave, and he went for a higher compensation, and that made us reflect that the fact that we didn't know that was going to happen meant we were doing something wrong, right? So now we always aim to compensate people when they deserve it before they can have that thought themselves. And the other thing we do is we help everyone in the organization, all the VPs, all the manager level, to learn to talk to their team, to understand each person within their team, and what different people want, right? Because it's true that some people want higher compensation or more employee benefits, but there's others who want more visibility or more responsibility, and you just need to understand each person. And I think at least at the scale of 50 people, 100 people, you can still do that. I don't know if, for example, Glovo can do that still, but we still can.
Yes,
Okay.
I would add that communication is key as well, no? As Avi said. And it's very important to understand this one-to-one with the managers and with all the team. And it's something that for us, like, help us a lot with the retention of the team to understand, like, as I said, no, if you are transparent and you don't have money in the bank, no, it's something that happens. But the team understands that you are doing fundraising and blah, blah, blah. And they are part of the team. They are creating this thing with you. They understand that. But then, of course, no, when you raise the round, it's like, okay, it's my time. So you have to pay accordingly, no, to the value. And it's something that it's super, super important.
Paul, so we heard many times growth. But I would like to ask about the different growth strategies that we can find in the market. Unfortunately, and at least in my opinion, the main one is to growth in the path of any cost. So what do you think of these companies that are taking a lot of money from the market, but they only center it to get new clients and anything more? They don't have a focus on monetizing the product. I know that you are different because I'm investor of the three companies, and I know that in your strategy, monetization is key. But what do you think of including some competitors from yours or other companies that are well known in the market that are just growing? What do you think about this kind of fast strategy? If you wanna, Abby?
I think it really depends on the segment, and I think sometimes it can make sense. So in some cases, for example, if you grow fast enough, even by not monetizing, you can get rid of all competition and have a huge market price all for yourself on your own, right? In some cases, you can grow at all costs without monetizing, create a huge user base, and later monetize it, right? Like Facebook did, for example. But in a lot of other cases, I think that the fact that there's more and more VC funding, and it's easier and easier to create a startup, it's making it that sometimes we lose sight of what we're actually doing. We lose sight of why we're investing so much just to acquire users. And I do see some companies that I don't know if they're thinking about how are we ever going to monetize this, or is it ever going to become profitable, right? Also at YC, this is one thing that they really drum into our heads. And one thing they really encourage you to do is not to raise huge rounds if you're not ready, and not to spend money if you don't have product market fit. And for them, in most cases, the definition of product market fit is that you're monetizing or you have a super clear, crystal clear route as to how you're going to monetize, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same, no? Like, if you are creating a new category or you want to be the leader of that category, like Payflow will do for sure, probably you need to spend a lot of money, a lot of resources, having a good brand, having the best clients, of course, the best talent, and then probably in the next years you will monetize, you will have like revenue enough to be profitable. But it's true that here we are playing in the VC capital world. No, we are a startup. We are raising money, so that's true as well. That we are a little bit biased in our strategy. Be focused on MRR, on vanity metrics, no, in the sense that we can sell better our company to investors, no, and it's something that probably it's not good for the company. It's good for the investors. Maybe we should change a little bit that, and as Avi said, in YC they try to tell us, okay, focus on the company, focus on the product market fit, and not in this hockey stick that it seems like super nice for investors. So yeah, like answering the questions, we should spend the money, the proper money in the stage that where you are, and also in the strategy that you want to accomplish in the next months, next years.
Well, in our case, we compete with traditional players. So, which in the end, the value is not about the margins or the price or whether you're offering, because in the end, this is a regulated market as well, so we can't set the price that we want. In our case, which is the differentiator, is the way we do it. So the way that we can implement a solution that really is adding value, that is really contributing to the partner to have a higher attachment rate, to build a new source of revenue that was impossible to get it before. So in the end, our main focus is to let them know that this is a source of revenue as it was financed, in the last years, and that insurance can be an additional value for their end customers in terms of revenue, but in terms of additional proposition as well. So we don't like to compete on price. We don't like to use that element to grow. What we want really to use is that the referral of, we are working with this company has implemented the solution, nobody else in the traditional field can do it. So this is a greenfield market. There are some opinions regarding the embedded insurance market, which might be something like trillions, which is a totally greenfield market. If you imagine how many transactions in terms of purchasing, service can be done and can be bundled with an insurance, is huge. It's amazing, and there's no capability today. There's no platform. There's no solution to do it. So this is where we are competing. It's a bit tough because it's something new. When you do something new, it's a bit tough. You need to convince someone that this is a good source of revenue, but it will come. It's coming with some partners. So we are using current partners to show the others, as a showcase that this can be done. This is not a matter of price. You can compete on price using traditional players, but it's a different game.
Perfect. I always heard that entrepreneurs have two different jobs. The first one is to manage the company, and the second one is to take new money from the market. When I think about you, that you are expanding so many hours in the product, as you are saying, but you have to manage as well to get the new money to grow. So how you are doing this task? Because you have to focus on the product, but as well you have to take the money, because if not, you can grow as fast as you need. How do you manage these two scenarios? For example, Jordi.
Well, fundraising is one of the amazing processes that we have lived, and yeah, you need to combine. The two are quite important. So managing the company and getting the money to not to fool the company, it's crucial. It's absolutely key, but it takes a lot of time. It needs to pay quite attention and clear focus to do it and to do it properly. And in our case, it's been a very interesting process. We have really enjoyed and we have learned a lot as well, because in any conversation with VCs, with funds, you understand things that you can change, that you can adapt in your business model, and this has been really positive. But in the end, it's so exhausting too in terms of dedication, and the time and managing both things at the same time. But I'm sure that Avi and Arnau, they have their own experience with YC, which is also amazing.
Yes, like fundraising is a little bit pain in the ass, but because you are not focusing what it's important, that it's your business, it's your product, no, it's your team. So here, if you can have a good partners, good co-founders, so that's key, first of all, and then the team, no. That's true that of course, like you have to work with them a lot, no, but during 1, 2, 6 months, you are going to be focused on fundraising, explaining the same pitch like every day, 6, 7 times, and maybe even you can change your strategy at least in your mind, because you see that maybe you are not being successful fundraising, but then it's nice, no, when you find people that believe in your product, like Philippe here, and then they trust in you, and then you deliver. So that's great as well.
I think it's really important, and again in YC they drum this into your head, that you realize that fundraising is a side goal and your primary goal is to grow the company. So for me, this means, for me and Benoit, this means that we try to spend as little time possible fundraising. And I think there's 2 ways that can really help there. So the first is if you have the luxury of choosing who invests in you in first round, pick someone who can also invest in you in a later round, a much higher quantity, because then if you have traction, your next round it's pretty much done, if you have the right partners on board already, right? And the second thing is don't spend time fundraising when you don't have to. So for us, we're targeting a runway of 18 months with our current round. So at least for 12 months after raising it, we will not talk to any VCs. Doesn't matter how good they are. Doesn't matter if Sequoia comes knocking on the door. We won't talk to them. And we spend 12 months fully focused on growing the business, and then we will start the fundraising process later, because we know it takes a lot of time, and we know it distracts us from focusing on what's really important.
Now, I think that it will be interesting if you could share with us some kind of problems that you are suffering in your daily work, no? Because it's difficult to keep your steadily growth at 40% or higher than this average, but I'm more than sure that you have thousands of problems. I would like you to highlight one of the biggest problems that you have faced and how you have managed it. For example, Arnau.
I was thinking 2, but I would say just.
If you want to say 2, up to you.
No, but it's similar. Like I would say, like people hiring and then processes, no, automate processes. So more or less, it's the same. Like we multiply by 4 the sales team in 4 months. So then you have to automate process as well. Otherwise, it's a chaos. So last month it was a little bit chaos. I have to be sincere here, because we didn't automate enough processes as we were building, or we were creating things that don't scale. But now we realize now that we are in this hypergrowth, so we have a lot of inbound leads, a lot of new deals, a lot of customer support that we have to attend. So I would say this 2, no? People that you have to manage, you have to share this culture and everything, and focus a lot to automate processes, to create, key aspects in your communication that helps, with this growth. Continuing with this growth.
So I'm gonna choose the spreading the knowledge situation. So we were 20 employees 6 months ago. We're 50 now. We plan on being 100 by the end of the year. So how do you take 20 people that have only been there for 3-4 months and get them to teach 30 people that have just joined all the processes, why we do things as we do? And for us, it's been really tricky. We've invested a lot of time in it. So a lot of weeks of one-on-one onboardings to spread that knowledge, and it's not really scalable. We still haven't solved it, but we're talking to some bigger companies to see how they did it, and we're trying to move to more automatized onboardings using some platforms, and testing that to see if we can make that work.
Jordi?
Yeah, I won't choose the same, but we are facing the same issues in terms of hiring and knowledge transfer. But I would pick as well, in our case, as we grow really fast, and we focus at the very beginning in sales, then you need to take time to set the foundations. So to build up what was needed in terms of accounting, finance, legal, compliance, and so on, because scaling the company with the product is fine. So the product, the IT product is absolutely scalable, but you can't scale if you don't have the foundations really well set. So this is what we took some time after we closed the round to really understand which needed to be done and which were the elements that we needed to fix or sort in case of scalable from now on.
Before reaching and that you have time to do some questions to all the guests, I would like to do the final question, and if we can take only 5 minutes on this in order to give them some minutes to talk with you. I would like that you give them, because here there are corporates, there are startups, but some tip or the tip that you will give to them to make a profitable company and a company that's able to assume this growth. For example, Jordi.
Follow your dream. So in the end, is follow your vision. So building a startup is a kind of roller coaster, no? So you have some days that is wow, and some others that is a bit painful, no? So it's about setting the vision and understanding that this is something new, that you are building something that is disruptive in the market, that is adding some value, and that of course you will put all the energy and the focus on that. Then the results will come. It will take more or less, but results will come. But if you are not believing in your own product, then it's not going to happen.
Arnau?
Yeah, I would say like try to find a product market fit, because otherwise it's impossible to create a company that it's profitable in long term, of course. And here is like Avi said, no. In for example, the Stripe co-founder, Patrick Collison, said that you find the product market fit when you're multiplying by 2 every month in the last 6 months. No? So this is something like when you realize your client really wants your product, they are paying, you are increasing prices, they are still paying, and of course you have retention, then you would create, of course, a good company. No? Then you have different problems, no? From 0 to 1, to 1 to 10, to 10 to 1 million, whatever. But I would just focus on that, no? Like product market fit and zero bullshit, zero whatever, fundraising.
I think the most important thing is to find the right people to do it with. So if you want to do something big, there's no way you can do it on your own. And you really need to find the best people, hire the best people, find the right co-founder. Like always rely on having the best team and retaining them, and that's really, really hard to do, and it's a lot of work, and you just need to go in the mud and work on it. So that's for me is the non-negotiable part, because even if your idea is not right, it's not necessarily on you to find the right idea. If you have a team of superstars, they will think for themselves, why are we not selling? Why is the CAC going up? And why is this person not working out, right? So you just need to find the right people.
So thank you, three of you, for joining us, and you as well. And we are ready for today.
Thank you.
Thank you.